I'm Mary Dessel. I'm one of the Mason County Master Gardeners, and today what we're going to do is build a mason bee nesting box. So what we're trying to do is attract mason bees into our yard, and we want to provide them with some area, a nice nesting box. So inside the nesting box, so a nesting box is a wood structure, but there are these tubes. The tubes will be where the bee will get into and will bring in the pollen and nectar and then lay its eggs. And being mason bees, then they will build mud partitions. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this. I first want to show you some of the tools that we'll be using for this. I bought a board. It's a 1x6 board. So just pine, and it can be painted, but if you paint it, make sure you let it dry for about a month or so, just so there's no fumes or anything like that. This is a perfect time of the year to be building these mason bee boxes. Also, we're going to be using a drill that has a bit on it for screws. There will be use of a right angle measuring tool and a tape measure. And then the screws that we're using today are exterior screws. They're 1 5/8 inch in length by 8 inch, or 8 diameter. So number 8. Also, there's a couple of safety tools that we'll be using. When I'm using the saw to make cuts, I'm going to be using safety glasses and headphones. So why don't we go ahead and get started? The first thing that we'll be doing is making a cut, and the first pieces that I'm going to cut will be the sides. We do have a schematic for this box. It is on the chat, so you can pull it out. It's a PDF. You can just go ahead and pull that out. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and measure the side boards. They're going to be 7 inches in length, and so I'm just going to go here, and we need, since they're sides, we're going to need 2 of them. I'm going to go here, make a little mark at 7 inches, and then use my right angle tool to draw a line, and then I will go ahead and make the cut. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I would be cutting 2 of these, but just in the whole idea of saving some time, I've gone ahead and pre-cut the other pieces of wood. But it's very easy, and you're going to find the specs, once again, are in that schematic drawing that is in the chat. So our first, we said we've got our 2 sideboards, so I have those right here. And I'm going to go ahead and set those here. And the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and drill, connect the 2 sideboards to the bottom board. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. So I need to make sure that this is flush, and so I'm going to go ahead and put this together like this, and get a screw out. I've pre-drilled all the holes for the screws. This is pine. I don't want it to crack, so I went ahead and pre-drilled them. And now I'm just going to drill them in. Okay, so side is in, and now we're going to go ahead and do the next side. We're having a nice rainy day here. We even had some thunder. Okay, so now if you look, you're going to see we have the bottom and then the two 7-inch sides. Remember, we talked about our tubes here, and the tubes will, the sides need to be longer than the tubes. The tubes are, there we go. The tubes are 6 inches in length, so we want to make sure that our sides are longer so that our tubes will not be getting wet while they're in the Mason bee box. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the top on, and let's take a look at that. So once again, I pre-drilled all the holes just so that everything would fit together nicely. Okay. So let me go ahead and I'll start drilling these in. Pull the screw back out. And one last screw. So you can see this is a pretty easy project. Okay, so now you can see we've got our bottom, we've got our sides, and notice how the top has an overhang. Once again, this is for the rain to protect the little cocoons as they're inside their tubes. So our last thing that we're going to do as far as putting wood on is putting on our back board. So we've got it cut already to size, and we're just going to go ahead now and screw it on. Okay, so it's looking pretty good here. So now the last thing that we are going to do is drill a hole up here. I've marked it with a pencil, and that'll be just a hole that we'll use to put a screw in to drill it to our fence post. So let me go ahead and get the drill ready and get that all ready to go. It's a great weather day. If you like storms, we just had a tree come down too. Alright, so I got the drill bit on, and I'm going to go ahead now and drill into the board. And now I will put a screw in here. I won't put it in all the way. It's going to be the screw that will then go into the fence post. So now you can take a look here, and you'll see here is our box. Here's the screw that we'll put into the fence post. and or underneath an eave. And our backboard, and it's just nicely put together. So all we have to do at this point is go ahead and fill it with nesting tubes, which we'll actually wait to do until the beginning of March, because right now there won't be any activity with bees until kind of the end of March. So sometime mid-March we'll get all ready, get our tubes in our box, and everything will be nice and filled and ready to go. Any questions that you might have, we're able to answer those. If you could put them in the chat, we'll be glad to answer those in the workshop. Thank you.